what I'm saying with Flex, from the outside looking in, I think that he's such an icon now that I think his brand is above controversy amongst the youth. His brand is above that. Like I just don't think that kind of smoke looks well on him.
You might not agree with the method, but now in New York City, every Thursday, he's playing exclusives, stuff that you wouldn't hear on the radio. Like he dropped bombs on a record I got called Super Gangster. Does not belong, well, I can't say it don't belong in the club. It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But it's just me.
So what did we learn from that? What we learned from that is that Conway's point has just been proven. He could always do it.
He could have played it already.
And what I'm saying is he's an icon, so he could have did it without the controversy. He doesn't need the controversy. He already did the heavy lifting.
But the world is a stage.
He could have made Thursday that day.
The world is a stage, bro.
The world is a stage?
The world is a stage, man. If there's a formula, now we gotta be realistic. If the people who sit behind the desk know the formula and they use this formula and the formula works, why are we gonna say, you know what, let's handicap ourselves and say, we're not gonna use the formula. We're just gonna be real niggas.
That's Funk Master Flex's, that's his formula, y'all?
No, I'm just saying if it brought more attention to now, come on, bro, a battle rapper getting bombs from Funk Flex, like what?
He's a controversial DJ.
I mean, thank you. I'm glad y'all did all that.
I feel like him.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like you and his dialogue publicly, and then it turning into him like standing up to his word, standing on his word, and dropping bombs on your shit. I think all that is beautiful. I'm talking about the public bashing of a younger artist for expressing his concerns. With the way that you are standing on your position as an icon in this shit.
It wasn't the first time, you know that, right?
No. Listen, I'm saying that he's well within his right to handle it that way. What I'm saying is, as an icon, I don't think that he should handle it that way or has to handle it that way. I think that it's a bigger responsibility than just controversy at the expense of the youth.
Well, that's an unfair judgment. If seeing that you just went through something similar.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
But I'm not looking to be fair, bro. I'm just expressing what I see, and I'm talking about. We were having this whole conversation in context of the way that the things that we do and the decisions we make affect our culture.
So what was Conway's responsibility in that situation?
Yeah.
I mean, Conway, the way that he handled it wasn't the greatest thing.
You call it addressing concerns, and that shit, he was calling for Flex's job.
Yeah. So I feel like the way that the youth, I keep calling them the youth. I view him as the youth because he's young as it pertains to the business. He's just getting into the business.
He's young in the business.
Yeah, and then you go through things. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that he approached it right at all. But I think the way with somebody like Funk Flex, the conversation we were having is he's at a position and he's wise enough and been around long enough he should be able to see through that.
And just reach out to him.
And understand. It's just like when you got kids and there's different reasons why they act out. We were just talking about this in the car. You know what I mean? Like, you could be going through a divorce. Next thing you know, you having certain problems out of your kids. I have a son with autism. You know what I'm saying? Like, I notice when I'm not around as much as I should be, like the way that he speaks to his mom, like he kind of uses her as like a punching bag sometimes. Sometimes it's like a cry out for attention. And a lot of times it's because their brains aren't developed, they're not evolved enough as humans to be able to articulate what's really wrong, what really the root of the problem is. And you really can only look to the parents to be able to kind of see that.
Right.
And like handle that in a way that kind of like promotes growth. And you basically looking at the bigger picture more so than you looking at, okay, he wrong, so I'm gonna discipline him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
but that's in the absence of the matriarch, the boys always get out of line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up without my father around, so I felt like when me and my mother had conversations, it was man speaking to woman. You dig what I'm saying? Of course, there was a reverence that you don't exceed her, but it wasn't the normal situation like a dad being around. We could have arguments.
Yeah.
And I'm a teenager.
So everything that you did growing up, us looking at that in retrospect with everything that we've been through, we can understand everything that you did. We can understand it all. But do we look at that and do we justify that, or what's the real problem here? The real problem is, how do we figure out how to get the father back in that situation? That's the real problem. But in order for us to do that, we have to not only understand what the child is doing, but we have to start addressing the situation as it pertains to the child with that kind of understanding.
That doesn't mean wiping out the consequences.
No. It doesn't mean wiping out the consequences.
Or the responsibility of how you act.
It means understanding how to toe that line.
Right.
And understanding how to toe that line comes along with you understanding what your position is.
No, totally.
There's a lot of towing that line is tricky.
That's called parenthood.
If I own the car, it's my responsibility. It's my own. You throw a rock at my car, even if you didn't bust the window, you still in trouble for throwing the rock. That's the whole, there's consequences. I understand that you might be upset, you might be pissed, anything could have happened. You might be upset that your record's not being played, you might be this, you might be that. Anything could be happening. But when there are still consequences behind all of those actions that being a youth does not excuse. Now you're a man. You got to stand on what you did.
Let me give y'all another scenario. Okay, when I was on work release, my assistant.
Jesus Christ! Talk about consequences.
My assistant, he was taking me back and forth from my house to work release, and it was a strict schedule. And you couldn't be late. If you were late, you go back to the county.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this man was at court when they sentenced me. He'd been by my side since day one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So. Without him, because I couldn't drive, and my wife was pregnant at the time, without him, I wouldn't be able to even get back and forth to work release. And he did countless things for me without even being paid. You know what I mean? Like, he was working with me and for me in good faith. In good faith that because he believed in me. When shit really blows up, this man is gonna put me on payroll. I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. A feature came through him. And I've been in this situation so many times, I could smell it from a mile away. There was like $750 extra dollars that was unaccounted for, that I ended up finding out that he pocketed.
Right.
And I looked at that like, number one, he's not a liar and he's not a thief. That's why he did it so sloppy. And I could tell when he was telling me about it that he was something didn't seem right about it. So I ended up talking to the person myself and asking them, and they gave me a different number from what he gave me, which, the difference was like $750. So when I approached him about it, he still had the $750. And I just told him to give it back. Just give it back. Just give it back to me. I didn't fire him. I didn't fire on him. I didn't do anything to him. I still love him. I forgive him. I feel like him just being caught was enough punishment. Him knowing that he was trying to get away with something, and he was only trying to get away with it because he thought he can get away with it. I don't think that makes him a thief. I don't think it makes him a bad person. I just think it makes him a human making decisions in certain situations. And I still needed to get the work release, and I still was able to see the good in him. And if I'm taking the same position as you, MECC, that got to come with consequence, then I just blow his fucking head off. Then I got to worry about how I'm getting work.
No.
This is $750.
I'm just saying, there's people who will do that to you over that amount of money.
Terrible example.
Nigga over $20.
Terrible example. Terrible example.
No. The example I'm giving is just, there's a certain responsibility. It's just like being the owner of a restaurant or something. You got people on the cash register, and small amounts of money are coming up missing. Some owners look at that as par for the course. Some of them just look at it like that. You know what I mean? Some of them want to go press charges on every single person. You know what I mean? And you can do that. You can do that, and that can affect business. Right. Sometimes it's really hard to find good help or good work. You got a really great engineer, and he come to the studio and he going through something with his wife, and he start falling asleep while y'all cutting vocals.
Terrible examples.
No. I'm just saying. There's a responsibility.
Do your job.
Because these are all god-awful examples. You're giving me examples of people who, number one, have cachet with you based on loads of work. Like, you're talking about people who have earned grace. Everything you're talking about is somebody who earned grace. People who are working in a restaurant, busting their ass, maybe putting some overtime they ain't charge you for. They take a little
Took him
something, you
back
don't
and
say
forth.
that. Somebody who took you back and forth for a bunch of years without getting paid, he took a little something, you let it go because you know it's hard. That's grace. I'm
Right.
talking,
Mac, it's
the
great.
issue-
It's graceful the way that I explained it, but at that time, that was probably the worst time in my life that you could steal something from me.
But that's you.
But did he
that's you
steal or did he?
specifically.
It sounded like he overcharged.
No, he stole.
No.
He kept $750.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about the mentorship, what y'all getting into, right? When it comes to music, we are comparing kids and rappers and stuff, right? But rappers speak a different language. Like businessmen in this game speak a totally different language. A rapper will listen to you before he listens to me. Because you're a rapper. You've been through it. They look at you as creative. The business that I do, that's my art. That's my art that I bring to the game. You feel me? So somebody like a Mega Meezy, who is 21's manager, will follow me. Because he's a manager, I do business. We could
connect on a different.
We could connect that
space.
way. Y'all rappers, y'all connect a certain way. I always tell them, y'all speak a different language. Rapper to rapper.
But ESSO, you can't say that, man, because there's plenty of rappers that's great businessmen.
I'm
and
not
I
saying,
feel like you just push people in a category.
No, listen to my
You're a
point.
rapper, you don't know nothing about
No, one
business.
size doesn't fit all. One size doesn't fit all.
Hold on. That's not what I said. I didn't say that. All I said was y'all speak a certain language, not that y'all don't know business.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about mentorship.
I think
When
a great business. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
A great businessman in our culture, in our business, is nurtured, cultivated, or just created through trial and error. Jay-Z wanted a record deal. That's what they were trying to get, a record deal. They started Rockefeller Records because they couldn't get a record deal.
Right.
Nobody would give them a record deal.
Right.
Nobody believed in them.
Right.
So aside from Jay-Z's connection to the street life, that was really his only knowledge of how to conduct business. Him being a businessman happened over time, just doing different situations, being partners with Dame. Dame came in way more knowledgeable than you would normally see somebody coming in this kind of a business. He came in with way more knowledge.
Right.
So I think just them building that kind of a dynasty just created a monster in Jay-Z. You know what I mean? But without them taking the approach that they took, if it was just left to the label believing in them, then that monster wouldn't have got created at all.
We're veering from the. Imagine that same dude who was taking you back and forth to work release. You get a feature come through that he pulled in. It's a whole bunch of money. It's just 5 bands. He don't take 750. But he look at you and go, nigga, you owe me. I'm entitled to at least 3,000. I've been doing all this shit for you. Motherfucker, you should be giving me 4. I've been taking you back and forth for no fucking, oh, you not gonna give it to me? All right, watch what happens next time you need to make it to work release, nigga. Watch me be a little late. Don't say shit to me. Don't say nothing to me. Or how about that other scenario? You gave me the job in this restaurant. You gave me the job.
So
I'm pulling up.
Mac, you proving my point. I think we're saying the same. I think we're saying the same thing because in that scenario, it's almost a responsibility of his to be that honest and open with me instead of lying to me. You lying to somebody that will give it to you.
But
you don't have to lie.
How do you deal with the entitlement is what I'm talking about, because that's what me and ESSO is speaking on. The entitlement of these kids who pull up and act like you owe me. Never mind the opportunity.
It's not
you owe me.
It's not an entitlement. It's an expectation, and that's where
It's
everybody goes wrong.
No,
everybody's throwing around their expectations on people who don't feel like they need to obligate.
And I can't even let that one rock, because I know the kind of business I do. I've seen ESSO in action. One of the first things we do when we sit down is we manage expectations. Here's how it's gonna go. Here's how it might end up. Here's a better way that we can do. What do you want to do? Or you want to get to blah, 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 blah. Okay, here's step 1. Here's step 2. Here's step 3. When you start fucking up on step 3, But you got through step 1 and step 2. All right, let's figure it out so we can get to 4, nigga. Like you still doing good. Let's just get to 4. But if you've been fucking up from step 1, if we just got started and you fucking up already,
yeah, it's not your responsibility to keep giving passes.
Where's the incentive for me to go to number 2? Where's the faith that you gonna get number? He's giving all examples of people who got through step 1, step 2, and step 3 cool, and then fucked up on step 4. All right, we can go to 5. I can let that go. Right. Well, you fucked up on 4, and it's been a minute. I get it. No, but if you started fucking up from number, what I'm talking about is people who walk in this game with a level. What we're not discussing is the youth who walk in with a level of entitlement, who start fucking up from step 1, not realizing that they fucking up from step 1. Tell you to kiss their ass.
Yeah,
because you pointing out that they fucking up.
You gotta kind of have an understanding of when to sever the ties in terms of like a record label. That's, at some point it has to just revert back to business.
So how,
and here we are.
So when I'm giving examples, I was more so talking about the responsibility, because we were still talking about flex, the responsibility that comes along with the position that you've earned over the years. I think if it's approached more like a responsibility as opposed to just watch how you talk to me because I'm a big dog, and I think there's a lot that goes on in Flex's world as a DJ, and an iconic one, that young artists just don't understand. So when they express their concerns, and that's what I'm gonna keep considering that as, when they express their concerns and it comes out all fucked up, it's coming from a place of ignorance. It's coming from them not understanding Flex's position. So in that scenario, who do you hold to the standard of making sure that the information is clear and it's given?
I think there's more than one standard.
Both of them.
But aren't they managed by Rock Nation? So shouldn't they have some information?
But hold on. Before you even go there, I definitely got to ask you about, if that's the case, Joel and Crooked. We're going to take a break, but I want to know your stance on that, if that's how you feel about that situation.
It's Hoffa, trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work, you heard. Making fiends leave earth, you heard. Got your baby mama thirst, you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf, you heard.